Peace and love, Moors. It is your brother Judah's son, also known as the marketing Moor for Moorish Nationality Card Services. And as promised last night, I am now revealing to you the new Moorish Nationality Card Service, Moorish National Identification Card design. Shouts out to our brother Sean Bey. This new design, it helped us get away from, the whole, it actually helped us get away from the whole thing of being accused of plagiarizing RV Bey Publications, and as well the design is cleaned up, and as well it also moves you more toward being matched up with what the states are doing. Now, before anybody gets their panties in a bunch, if you remember, if you did your reading, Noble Drawley said that he was going to lead the Europeans around long enough to teach you or show you how to run and operate a government. Right now, they have two types of identification cards, right, that are being issued by the State Bureau of Motor Vehicle Corporations. Now, it may not be in every state, but it is going on in some states. And now they have what's called the regular, state ID or driver's license, and then they have the enhanced ID or state drive or enhanced driver's license. Now, this is something that I'm finding out because the enhanced was an idea that I thought I came up with when I called it enhanced, with these barcodes and stuff. But obviously, the states have the same idea. Not knocking it whatsoever. It just lets me know that I'm on the right path with this. All right. So with that being said, all these states are moving into this Real ID Act compliance. They have two forms of identification. One allows you to enter in federal buildings, utilize federal services. It allows you to get on the Greyhound bus and travel from one state to the other, while the other one only allows you the basic things, such as using it to identify yourself, to get into hotels and stores and things of this nature, but you can't use it to get into federal buildings. So you're going to be limited. So that's why it's imperative that Moors actually move in to these form of national identification cards. It's not so that I can benefit financially. It's so that you can stop wrestling. It's so you can stop wrestling. All right. Now, when I show you this identification card, you'll see there's nothing on here that is waiving at all any of your birthrights or putting you into any colorable jurisdiction. So let's start off. All right, not that one. We don't want to see that one yet. All right, so this is the design that we have here, the new design for the Moorish National Identification Card. And again, once again, shouts out to brother Sean Bey, who was very skilled at photoshopping and graphic design. The brother contacted me and said, hey man, let's get a new design set up. Let's get you away from being accused of, this plagiarizing stuff. And plus, it'll help your card look a little fresh and you'll look different than what everybody is doing. So I said, you know what, you're actually right. So I gave him an idea of what I was looking for, and the brother came up with something like this. I've had to move some things around, but he came up with something like this. He created this background and everything, so with Photoshop, so I definitely appreciate that. But as you can see here, look, we have the Moorish Empire flag. We have the continental flag for the United States of America continent, the organic land, right? All right. Then we have the issuing authority. Now, for me, my issuing authority is my trust. This is what was issued to me by the trust, and it is the property of the trust. So that's how it goes. You have the issuing authority. You have an expiration date. You have the ID number, the issue date. The reason why these things are important, Moors, is because you're probably thinking, well, he just wants us to come back to him so we can spend some more money. No, these are things that corporations and organizations are going to be trained to look for on an identification card to weigh out whether it is legit or not. So as you can see here, even though there's an expiration date, it's 10 years. It's 10 years. You're going to age. You're going to gain weight. You may lose weight. Your hair may get gray. You may lose one eye. Your vision may get worse. Whatever the case may be, a lot of things can happen within 10 years. You might go bald. You know what I mean? You're going to want an identification card that fits that. And as well, if you notice when you're going into the store, these clerks are asking for an identification card, and you say, well, I'm sorry, an expiration date. And you say, well, make up one. And they do it. they do it reluctantly, and then you can tell that it makes them uncomfortable because they feel like they're committing some type of fraud. Why put them through that? Expiration date, here you go, 8/22/2028. It's just as simple as that, right? Then you have an ID number. You have to have that on these identification cards, which I know these cards do. You have to have a issuing authority. You have to have that. It's just as simple as that. You have to have a gender. If you notice, there are some of you who have a national identification card that does not even have a gender on it whatsoever, at all. At all. So what are you, like a hermaphrodite, or I mean what? As you can see, hair color, eye color, nationality is still there, ancestral estate is still there, national domicile is still there. Look at that. The non-obligated tax number is there. You got the ghost image or the hologram image. You got the thumbprint. You see these, you have to have this on here. So right now, some of you have national identification cards that do not have a gender on it. It does not have the ghost image on it. Right? It does not have an expiration date on there. It does not have an issuing authority on there. So by that definition, by those standards, by 2020, your ID will be no good. It will only be good for basic services. And I know a lot of you Moors are expanding and you're growing and you wanting to start to travel. You wanting to leave the country. Now check this out. I know a lot of Moors are for jurisdictional purposes. They don't want to get passports from the United States. So a lot of Moors opt to get passports from World Citizen Passport Organization, which is all fine and dandy. But if you look at their passports, they're even utilizing certain technologies that are leaning towards being compliant with the Real ID Act. There's just no getting around it because the world is starting to do this. And again, as you can see, for face value, looking at this national identification card, there is nothing on here that waives or abandons your Aboriginal indigenous rights or any birthrights or whatever the case may be. There's nothing on here that waives those rights. Now check this out. Look at this stuff in the background. This is what we're talking about. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? North, South, Central America, the adjoining islands over here somewhere. Like, look at that. This really makes the card look international. This is what really makes the card look international. Now, up here, we did say tribal estate identification cards, and shout out to brother Kuamo Resut L, who procured a Moorish national identification card from us. That brother gave me that idea a long time ago as far as the estate identification card portion, because estate is status, it is birthright. So shouts out to that brother. Get with me, brother. I don't know if I'm behind with you on something, you know what I'm talking about. So please get with me. You got my personal number. Peace and love to that brother Kuamo Resut L. If y'all are not hip to him, you need to go and subscribe to his channel on YouTube. The brother is real knowledgeable. The brother is real study. So peace and love to the brother Kuamo Resut L. Peace and love to him. So you got a state identification card, and then the reason why I had to put tribal here, because there's not one Moor who can deny it, and maybe there is one or two who don't deal with this issue, but I speak with Moors all over the world. I have to tell you that. I've spoken with several Moors all across the world, all over the Moorish Empire, Mexum, Northwestern Mexum. I've spoken with several Moors, and they all have dealt with this situation to where they are utilizing their Moorish national identification card, that they have to explain it's a native card, it's a tribal card, and things of this nature. Even myself, when I went and used my Moorish national identification card before I printed out myself one like this, I had to explain to them it's a tribal card, because I was doing a Walmart to Walmart transaction for a brother who was procuring his national identification card. By the way, brother, you should have received that in the mail by now. And they were trying to give me an issue at Walmart. Now, they ended up, when I showed them the text on the national identification card, which is similar to the RV Bey design, I showed them how it said Aboriginal, Indigenous, Native American, to let them know this was a tribal card. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, if we're using Aboriginal, Indigenous, Native American, and Native American is that tribal ring, yet we're also using Aboriginal American to set the standard, show that there's a separation from that colorable status up under the Bureau of Indian Affairs, Aboriginal Indigenous, showing we're not those created tribes, those $5 tribes, those mixed tribes, our babies, right? We're showing we are the first, the original. So that's why I put it up here, Aboriginal American National Tribal Estate, you know, so they get that. You can see right there when they see that. So if you're doing any Walmart to Walmart or any Western Unions or any MoneyGrams, which I've done several MoneyGrams, I've done several Western Unions using my national identification card, then there won't be an issue when they see this stuff. And let's stop playing. Moors anciently were known to be broken up into tribes. Moors right now are broken up into tribes. Tribes make up nations. It's just as simple as that. Clans, tribes. Then you have the bigger umbrella, nation. So it's all the same thing. Moors got to stop playing with these words and certain semantics, you know, and stop playing, please. We got to stop playing with that. All right. And then of course you have the mailing location here. Look, you got the mailing location. You got the date of birth. Natural born date just was too much. It was too much for me. It just was too much for me on here. It was just too much. So birth date, that should be fine. Y'all can play with these words if you want. If you want, you can play with these words, but same thing. So height 6'3", weight 183, race Asiatic, gender man, hair black, eyes brown, nationality ancestral estate. There's some few things that I gotta add on here. I gotta add the all rights reserved over here, and then I'm thinking about adding something else here. Actually, you know what? No, I'm not. I'm going to leave it. I'm actually going to leave it alone. I'm actually going to leave it alone, but it will actually have the all rights reserved over here, because as you can see, check this out. We're supposed to be going back to the ways of our foremothers and forefathers, right? Let's do that. So on here, you can see this is Moabite, this is Canaanite, this is ancient Israelite or Ibrit, right? This is an ancient tongue. This is the same appellation as here, La Taza ben Yashar ala El, or Alatz ben Yisrael El. So it is what it is. So you see that. That's also something new that we've added. So we now can take your Moorish appellation, all right, and we can translate it into the Moorish Canaanite, Moorish Israelite, Moorish Moabite, you know what I'm saying, and put it on here as well, right? You see, so this is what we're talking about. This is why I said Moors can stop playing with this whole Israelite stuff and stop trying to diss the Israelites. Look at this. Israelites know Canaanite. We know Moabite. You know what I'm saying? We know the language. It's just as simple as that. All right. So this is part one of the new Moorish nationality card design. If you are interested in it, though, if you don't want to move on to part two, which you should be seeing a link for part two popping up in here right now. If you do not want to move on to part two and you are interested in procuring this Moorish national identification card, the link for that is in the description of this video, or I don't know where you may be viewing this at. It is in the description of this video, and it is available in the Moorish Nationality Card Services shop. You can go over there and get it. I will say this, though, before I end this video. We are only taking a limited amount of orders for this particular card. So if you want to beat people to it, click the link in the description of this video. If there's a few of you Moors that need some, or if there's a group of you Moors that need some, go ahead and place your order so we can get you guys taken care of, because we can't take on too many orders. That's one thing that issue we've had. We can't take on too many orders and then find ourselves being backed up. So that's one thing we don't want to do. We don't want to get backed up. So we're only going to take a few orders for this particular national identification card. So if you're interested in it, go ahead and click that link in the description of this video, get the ball rolling and get to it ASAP. But if you want more information as well, we're going to be move on to part two so we can show you the back of the card. All right, Moors, thank you so much for your time. This is the Marketing Moor with Moorish Nationality Card Services. Thank you so much for your time. Click that link in the description if you want to go ahead and get this new design here. Peace and love.